My name is Dr. James McElroy, and I'm the host of Inside Matters, a podcast that brings you, the listener, the best content in the fields of microbiome, gut health, performance, fitness, health, and well-being, once every 2 weeks on a Thursday on your favourite podcast app. Here's some highlights from episodes 1 to 10. I hope you enjoy it.
I suppose that's a kind of fear that I have, is that if you look back to about 2004-ish, when probiotics were the next big thing and everybody was quite excited about them, they didn't really do it. And so now it's almost poisoned the word and people are not as interested in it anymore, you know? And of course, the reason for that is that the organisms that were chosen for convenience purpose and not for specific indication or to fulfill a niche or to achieve a particular microbial effect.
Right.
It was just, we can put this in a yogurt and keep it in the fridge. Let's see what it does to IBD. You know, so no surprise then that they're not very effective.
We can scale this up in a huge fermenter, and it's easy to.
Walk us through like a week to week for you now, and give us some perspective on how you feel.
Initially, when I first started training, I was blown away as well. I was like, I don't know if I can do this day to day, but you do get into a rhythm of doing it. It does become just a kind of like a second nature thing. You do get used to it. And now I can't train anything less than that. I really, really struggle. I have to write down in paper, I have to write goals down for myself to tell myself to back off when I need to take certain periods of time to back off. So like that external voice telling me, you need to back off to let this heal or whatever. But I don't know. I just go to a certain place in my head. It's a very, I think I said to you, I don't know how this is going to sound, but it's a violent place. It needs to be, to put, 220 kilo plus on your back and try and go until literally your legs can't do anymore. You need to have that animalistic, thought process.
What is the best diet for the microbiome?
First of all, avoid the processed foods. So avoid all the industrial things. Avoid the classical Western diet with a lot of fats and proteins and refined sugar, and increase the fibers, which doesn't mean that it is healthy for the symptoms, because most of the patient go with IBS, go for a low FODMAP diet, which is brilliant to reach the remission of symptoms, but is very bad for the microbiota because it's very poor of fibers. And the fibers are needed to let the beneficial bacteria grow.
Has machine learning or AI, has it actually delivered anything big in the microbiome space?
Yeah, well, what's typically used for right now is doing what, and it's quite nice because people like this, especially like I think clinicians like this, is that sort of accuracy prediction, or clinicians are actually taught a lot about area under the curves of different diagnostic tests. This is actually taught to them in medical school usually, where you have recall and specificity or sensitivity, specificity, depending on who you talk about. But if you think about a diagnostic, right, you have a trade-off between, how many things it gets right and how many it's going to miss, right, or in any diagnostic test. And so machine learning tools will spit this out for you too. So it takes complex data and it's sort of simple. It's a bit of a black box too, but it's sort of simple in that you let the data you just hand it the data. And you say, based on this data and these labels, build a model for me. And it builds a little black box model, and it looks at it and it compares them and says, okay, I know what the model is, give me new data, and I'm going to tell you which one it belongs to.
So we're also going to be looking at their quality of life.
Right.
So they're going to tell us if they feel better or bad. We're going to look at the impact on depression and anxiety as well.
Oh. Is there a link between cirrhosis and mental health and the gut and the brain?
Yes. So you have a big nerve that connects your gut to your brain called the vagus nerve. Okay. And it also has branches that connect to the liver. And we think that there's this gut-liver-brain axis. And so that some of the things that go on in your gut and your liver might also determine what go on in your brain. And we know that patients with liver disease are more likely to get mental health problems, particularly depression.
Really?
Yeah, it's far more frequent.
Wow.
And that's actually how I measure my physique as well. So I don't weigh myself anymore. It would mean nothing to me anyway. But I'm like, if I can do 3 sets of 10, there's no way that I'm overweight or like out of shape,
Right.
you know? So that's like my measure.
It's a great indicator.
Yeah. Or even when I'm a bit ill, I'm like, can I still do my pull-ups? And when I can't, I'm like, no, it's like today is like a day off kind
That's
of thing.
chill.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So we're now at what, 6 something?
Yeah. I mean, that takes me like 15 minutes. So like, yeah, 6. And then from 6 until 7, half 7, depending on my concentration span, I'll just usually do more like of the creative side of stuff, like try not to open emails until like closer to 7.
Right.
And then at half 7, I go to the gym with my flatmate. And then we're back at work by 9.
And you're ready for anything.
Yeah.
I like it.
Look, there's a young Scottish guy that worked with Mark, and Mark can do anything he likes now. But
He's keeping busy. Really
yeah,
busy.
he is, and he's a really
him and Morag.
he's just a good human being,
Right.
and I'm sure we can talk about. But when I moved on from a previous CDMO, that's what I was looking for. I was looking for a values-driven organisation, something we could build from the ground up. The culture, the people. I think as you get older, it's less about like what you do, it's how you do what you're doing, and the people you work with and how you're doing it. You want to go home at the end of the week and feel like you're proud of what you're doing, and I think
Right.
that's what Mark does. I do joke, he's definitely self-actualized. He's in a position to do whatever he wants. For me, there's still a bit of food, water, shelter I want to do, but
Likewise.
At Gallus, we didn't have that opportunity. We only had, like, the top leadership team had a stake in the business, and I really wanted to change that, and Ampersand were completely supportive. So we created a share appreciation rights, which is a US scheme. But in essence, everybody had the equivalent of options. Everybody.
Yeah.
And what that meant was when we had a really good payout, everybody participated in that. Frankly, that was a great day to know that everyone's supervisors, line managers, frontline workers, everybody in the organization was going to get something because of what they'd helped to create.